guys, what happens when you are chronic dieting, and why sometimes when you are working out, 7 days a week, calories, and you might even gain weight. And we're also going to talk about how to not only prevent it if you haven't done it yet, but also how to fix your low metabolism so that way you can actually promote fat loss. Okay, these are huge topics. I personally love talking about this with clients because usually it is not something that is actually talked about, especially because with the fad diets that everyone is out there with. So with that said, okay, the main reason why so many females, and you can easily comment or put a like to this if it resonates with you, is most of the time females are chronic dieters, right? Women are always trying to lose weight. Whereas guys, a lot of times it goes back and forth. They might lose weight, they might put it back on, but their diet history, their diet age is relatively low, right? And so that is a big part of it. The second big part of it is the way we diet, honestly, and usually how women diet, to be honest, or how they try to lose weight, lose fat, and it all brings down to hormones, right? And I mean, honestly, females have a lot more going on in their hormones than guys, right? Guys are pretty goddamn basic, whereas women are very, very complex within the body. And when you diet, your body gets overstressed. And honestly, if you do it wrong, your hormones completely take a shit and it becomes a lot harder. So that's one of the main reasons. That's what we're going to be talking about right now. All right. Before I end up going into all of the ins and outs of this and how to fix it, what I want to do is talk about an example of pretty much what I mean. Right. And so majority of the time, these are the people, the low metabolism, I'm doing everything right, I can't seem to lose weight. These are the ones that haven't really dieted a whole lot, right? If you are, like 300 pounds or something like that, and you've never really dieted before, it's just fixing some of the things, right? The people that say they have a low metabolism, these are the ones that have lost a bunch of weight, put it back on, right? Or they lost a bunch of weight and they kept it off, but they can't seem to get, past the I'm fluffy stage, or that stress belly that is hanging out there. They can't really get that final little phase, right? These are the people that we tend to talk to. But say you are, like 200 plus pounds, right? You can still fall into this. If you sort of have been always dieting, maybe you're eating 1,000 calories, maybe you've lost weight, gained weight, lost weight, gained weight, or the people that are saying that they've tried literally everything, and it doesn't stick, right? These are the people that we are talking to. And the main reason why I always say females is all of those different situations usually are females talking about that. Very few time have guys said, I've tried literally everything and I just can't seem to lose weight. And so these are the people that, when you go on a diet, you're trying to better yourself, and it's, it might be 200 pounds, you might be 150, whatever it might be. Don't think about the weight, think about the situation, right? What does usually someone do? They do a bunch of cardio. Maybe they're working out, maybe they're doing circuit training, whatever it is. Most of the time we're afraid of lifting weights. So now I'm just going to keep on doing circuit training. I'm going to do a bunch of cardio. I'm going to try a diet, right? Usually about 1,200 calories. That's usually the go-to. I don't know why, but that is usually the go-to. Maybe they even went to the doctor and they said, I need to lose weight. And they put you on 1,200 calorie diet, right? What happens? Initially, you'll probably end up losing weight. Just really depends on where you're at. We're losing weight. We're doing great. So we're just going to keep on being restrictive. Okay. I'm going to keep on working out. You lose a bunch of weight initially, and then all of a sudden you plateau, right? Usually around week 3, give or take a little bit. Maybe the weekend comes up. Maybe life happens, right? And then now all of a sudden, what's your next response? I'm going to work out even harder, right? And then you dip down, okay? And maybe now in the next couple weeks, you only lose a couple pounds, right? Then your next reaction is, I'm going to keep on working. I'm going to work out more and more and more. I'm going to do cardio 3 hours a day and eat like 800 calories, whatever it might be. And then what eventually ends up happening is either A, you fail and you stop, or a lot of times you even start gaining weight, right? And then now what that leaves into your head is the view of yourself as being a failure, right? And that's usually what ends up happening, and that's usually what ends up causing you to gain all of the weight back, right? So that is a pretty typical scenario with a lot of people. Okay, I know most of all the 300 plus people that are in this group, there's probably a couple people that are that type of person, right? On the other hand, it's, hey, you lost the weight and you kept it off, right? Most of the time people gain it back, but maybe you kept it off and now you're sort of living in a view of fear, right? You're eating 1,000 calories, you're working out 6 days a week, you are completely burning out, and every single time you go off plan, you gain like 5 pounds overnight. So then you just go right back to the square one and just keep on outworking it, right? Those are the people that are living in a face of fear, right? They're never really able to live their life because every single time they go off plan, right, they gain initial weight, right? And so those two different scenarios are caused by like hormonal, basically imbalance, hormonal misfiring, metabolic adaptation. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. That's what I'm going to go over, those two different scenarios and really what's actually happening within the body when you're actually dieting, right? And so for today, what we're going to end up talking about is not only how to fix this, okay, but why is this actually happening, right? So when you diet, it doesn't matter where you are at, right? It doesn't matter if you've done it before, right? If you are completely metabolically adapted, okay? So a lot of times you'll end up getting into that phase. What ends up happening is as you diet, your hormone or your body reacts. What ends up occurring is here's where we're at. Here's where we are now. Maybe we're eating 1,000 calories. Our body wants to get back to homeostasis. So what is the initial reaction? Well, the first reaction is the hormone ghrelin. Okay, ghrelin is I'm hungry, right? It is give me something to eat, right? So that is where the cravings start happening. Okay, it is I want to get back up here, so you're not giving it to me, so give me food, right? This is when that starts happening. Okay, leptin is another one. That is the I am full hormone. Okay, what ends up happening as you diet down is that pretty much starts going down, right? And now not only are our bodies sending signals that we are hungry, but we're also sending signals that we're not full, right? And the third thing that sort of comes from that is the things that we want are those processed foods, the highly satiable ones, the fats, the pizzas, all of that stuff. That's really what like we start craving. That's what, oh my God, give me all of that. And then all of a sudden you overshoot your diet, right? That's what ends up happening when we make a massive scale. Okay. So say we end up going past that, right? Our body is now hungry. It's never full. And it's very easy to overshoot. That's why when you sort of fall off, you just keep on going, right? Doesn't matter if you do it right at the beginning or right at the end, right? If you're maintaining your weight at like 1,000 calories, 1,200 calories, the moment you go off, right? So say you kept it off for like, let's say 6 months, maybe even a year, right? And you're doing great, right? You're just outworking this. You're working out 6 days a week. You're doing all this other stuff. What ends up happening is your body just gets massively overstressed and it's just not really able to recover. We are just whatever, we're just outworking. We're living in a life of basically just a ball of stress. What ends up happening is now we overshoot and we gain all that crap back. Right. And you just that's what ended up happening to me when I did my photo shoot. Right. The moment I completely stopped, oh my God, like food was everywhere in front of me. I just kept on eating and I gained a lot of weight real fast. I toned it down, but it went super fast. All right. The third hormone. Okay. So we talked about ghrelin, we talked about leptin, we talked about how what ends up happening to our bodies as we're dieting. Okay, so now what ends up happening if we keep this off, right? If we keep on outworking it, we keep on having all this stuff. The third hormone is cortisol. This is the stress hormone. Pretty much it goes crazy high, right? This is where people start developing and we start plateauing. We're outworking everything. We were working out 7 days a week. We're doing 3 hours of cardio. We're doing all of this stuff. And maybe now we're not hungry anymore. We're keeping out all this weight and it's awesome. But now we plateau, right? And now we can't really go anywhere else, right? Our cortisol is super, super high. Maybe our sleep goes to shit. We're now sleeping like 3 hours a night. We feel like shit. Every single time we go to a family function, we don't eat anything in the fear of actually eating. And we're doing all this stuff, and our response is to keep on working, right? Because it's not working anymore, right? We're going to look, what we did before is not fixing the problem. And a lot of times people get that stress belly, right? This is where everything else is skinny, but we're still having that little pouch at the bottom, especially for women, right? And this is usually caused by massive stress, very little recovery. And our body needs to recover from a diet, right? There has to be a diet after the diet. No one just diets their entire time, right? And this is what causes, or this is the symptoms of basically an adapted metabolism, because your body responds by adapting to the stimulus of the diet. And what ends up occurring is now all of these hormones are working to try and get you back to here. Well, if it doesn't work anymore, right? If we do find our way to our goals, what ends up occurring is now our body slows down, right? Our metabolism is not working as hard as it once was, right? So now at rest, I'm burning less calories because you're not going to intake me, or you're not going to give me the calories that I need to survive. So now we're just going to slow down, right? Now maybe you're not walking as much, right? Your body functions are just, sort of slowing down in general, right? The hormones sort of flip off, right? Now maybe we're not hungry anymore because now we are staying here, right? Even if you work out, the workout is basically kicking your ass as opposed to you kicking the workout's ass, right? So now, even though we are working out for an hour or 3 hours, our body's not actually burning in as many calories as you actually think, because the body is not going to do that. Because if it didn't adapt, it would basically starve to death, right? And that's when all of this stuff starts happening. It starts eating away the muscles. It starts doing all this other stuff if you kept on going. That's where people lose muscle mass while still trying to lose fat, and they get to become fluffy, right? So now all of this stuff starts happening, and you're sort of just there, okay? You can't lose weight. You're eating very little. You're working out like crazy, and you're stressed out beyond belief. Maybe your sleep goes to shit. All your biofeedback is really, really crappy. Your metabolism is now adapted. And to make it even worse, just like we talked about before, the moment you stop all of that stuff, so not only are you not making progress, but now you completely stop and you're like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm just going to do whatever. I'm sick of this. I'm sick of this plateau. That's when all of those hormones start firing back up again. And now we're hungry. We're not full. And we gain all of the weight back, usually plus 10, okay, give or take a little bit. And within a couple of months, the moment you start doing it, right? That's the end result of what happens when you are metabolically adapted, when you don't take some of these steps that I'm about to talk about pretty soon here. All right. So the question goes along with this: how to fix this and how to make sure that this doesn't happen. Okay. Because even if you have a bunch of weight to lose, no one ever diets and gets their goals, their end goal, especially even if you have to lose like 60 plus pounds. No one actually does it and does it well to keep it off by doing it one diet. Okay. One diet phase. A good fat loss phase is usually between 12 to 16 weeks. Right. And then you sort of go through different phases. We talked about this in a lot of the other videos, but that is how you end up fixing this, right? We periodize what we do, right? You want to go through a fat loss phase and then maintain, right? You want to get your results and then protect them, right? There has to be a diet after the diet. If there's not, there's no recovery from the diet. The diet is a stressful time. So you get your results and then you recover. How do you recover? You go up calories, right? Which usually seems really, really odd for most people, right? And that is one of the things you want to do. You want to periodize what's going on, right? You want to go through a fat loss phase and then protect it. Go through a fat loss phase, then protect it. You keep on doing that. And now, A, your metabolism doesn't adapt as much. B, you can maintain the results that you're getting. But also C, you can actually maintain at higher calories. So now when you are maintaining, you can actually live your life a little bit instead of living a life of massive fear of gaining all of the weight back plus some, right? Those are huge, huge things. And that's why it's more of a question of, do you want to get results or do you want to keep them? Those are two very, very different things, right? I can put you on a 1,000-calorie meal plan and just say, go with it. Let's lose 20 pounds. If that's going to make you happy, awesome. But hey, you know what? You're probably going to gain it back within like 3 months, right? So that is the key thing. Okay? We want to periodize our nutrition. Okay. The second thing, and this is why we instill like the high refeed days, right? We instill like diet breaks, stuff like that, of a time of just recovery and lift more, do awesome workouts so we can build that muscle. Okay. The second thing that we want to make sure we do is our exercise. Okay. What I mean by this is we want to progressive overload. We want to progressively do more in the weight room, not just circuit training, right? Not just, hey, I am doing strength workouts and your circuit training is lifting fit and your strength workouts is lifting 15 to 20 pounds, right? Everyone has a starting point, but I can almost guarantee you that half the people watching this can lift more than that, right? We want to always push the issue. We want to always progressively overload. You should be able to say, I can do this with this amount of weight or this exercise right now, and I couldn't do it last month. Okay? Each month, you should be able to say that. If you're not, and you're just saying, hey, I worked out a lot this month, you're probably not doing the right stuff, right? We want to maintain the muscle to lose the fat. Okay. If you are constantly eating 1,000 calories and constantly doing like cardio type workouts, circuit training, HIIT classes, whatever it is, because you want to burn more calories, you're going to end up losing a lot of muscle, and you're going to become fluffy. Not really lean. You're going to become fluffy. Right. So again, this is not 25 reps with 10-pound weights. Right. This is pushing the issue, lifting 6 to 8 reps every once in a while, pushing the issue, seeing where you're at, and always progressing, right? That is a weight training or a strength training program. And again, strength is relative. It does not mean that you need to deadlift 400 pounds. Most people shouldn't do that anyway, unless that is their goal. But you should be able to deadlift more each and every single time, right? We want to progressively overload, okay? So that is how you prevent it. We go through periodizations of nutrition and honestly periodizations of your exercise, but we want to progressively overload. We want to always get better. More importantly, we should have a plan, right? So the last part is, how do we fix it if we have, if we are metabolically adapted? What if we are eating 1,200 calories and we are constantly working out? We're working out 7 days a week and we just cannot finally get that, and we don't know what else to do. What do we have to do to fix that? All right. So it's still that periodization model. That doesn't change. The progressive overload doesn't change, right? But now what we're going to do is the first phase, which is called metabolic priming. Okay. Metabolic priming is exactly what it's doing. We are priming the metabolism, right? If people have never really dieted before, we're working on quality, right? We're working on getting our bodies to actually run the way it is, not on shitty ass food. Right. But if we have done this before and we don't know what to do, our metabolic priming is earn the right to diet. We're going to do a thing called a reverse diet. So we're going to take our time, and we're not going to worry about necessary fat loss right away. We're going to worry about getting our body in a right position to actually lose weight or lose fat. So we're going to prime our metabolism so we can actually promote weight loss in the future. Most people need to do this, in my personal opinion. Most people are very overstressed. We are eating low calories, right? And we are working out too much. Our body is basically just a ball of cortisol, right? It's pretty much what ends up happening. And so what you're going to end up doing is you're going to increase some of these calories so that way you can actually take some away. So now you're losing weight at 1,500 calories instead of maintaining your weight at 1,000, right? And always living in a life of fear. Right. So now we can fit a lot of good stuff in that 1,500 calorie range, okay, while still losing weight, right? The maintaining your weight at 1,900 calories, 2,000 calories, instead of barely maintaining your weight at 1,200 calories. And again, always living in a life of fear, right? That is the first step. It's metabolic priming. We're getting our body ready to actually lose weight. Then we go through that producing phase, and that producing phase is all about, producing and getting results. Then we protect, and we protect exactly what we just did, right? We just keep on going through those different phases, and the last phase is we're progressing, right? Maybe now we're not really worried about maintaining, we want to lift a little bit more. So we're going to progress our bodies, okay, and do that. Work on our emotional eating, something of those natures, okay? Most people go back and forth between the first three, right? That metabolic priming, that constantly happens. Doesn't matter where you're at. We're constantly getting our body ready to actually do an actual diet. Then we're producing, then we're protecting, then we're producing, then we're protecting. We keep on going back and forth between all of these different phases. And that's how you finally get to control the dietary freedom, but also the results that you actually want, right? On top of just training more and getting that lean body. That's how you actually get that, instead of just beating a dead horse, right? Constantly going back and forth between that. Okay. Hope you guys enjoyed that video. If you have any questions about any of this, maybe you're like all of this stuff that I talked about, especially at the beginning, you're like, yeah, that is me. Give me a little comment. Give me a like. If you have questions, feel free to message me. If you have questions or you are interested in coaching, maybe you know that this is probably you, but you know that you don't want to do this yourself. Maybe you're worried about gaining all of the weight back by increasing your calories. Maybe you need a coach to hold your hand as you go through it. Reach out. We can easily talk about our metabolic reset program. That's our initial program that we put everyone through anyway. Everyone's very, very much individual, so it really depends on our metabolic assessment that we sort of assess you with. But if you have questions with that, if you want some extra help with it, or maybe you just want to touch base if you're new and you want to talk a little bit about different topics or where you're at, or give you sort of a dietary recall, we can easily do that as well. Reach out.